Hello, everybody. I'm Carrie Sundra. This is the Alpenglow Industries Solder Sesh. We probably won't be soldering today, but we're going to be putting together a sensor watch, and that's going to be even better. And I have with me Joey Castillo, who has developed the sensor watch, and he is Jose Castillo on Twitter. That is his handle. So definitely give him a follow. He has done a bunch of projects, sensor watch, open book, all sorts of stuff. We're going to talk about it all tonight, and it's going to be super fun. So thank you for coming on the stream, Joe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, awesome. So here I have my sensor watch board, and I have a yellow Casio. So I saw your thing about how there can be counterfeits and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't get one. So I think I just got it off of Amazon or eBay or something. But I wanted colorful, so
yeah, totally. No, I know Casio made these they've made this in so many different styles. I've got the one I'm using the battery test on is kind of gunmetal gray, but then they made this blue shiny one, and they made a bunch of different hot pink, orange. Just all kinds of things speak to different styles,
Yeah, I haven't looked into it yet, but I would imagine that there are a ton of aftermarket straps for it so that you can do colorful things with between the straps and the watch face and stuff.
I've seen a ton of stuff on Etsy, actually. Custom straps for the F91W. People even make little rainbow colored shims you can put on top of the LCD to give it a rainbow colored look.
Nice.
All kinds of mods people do for this.
Nice. That is super, super cool.
I think that's one of the reasons that I picked the F91W as the base. It's not obscure. It's not esoteric. It's the everyman's watch. So a lot of people have kind of glommed onto it and done cool stuff with it,
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the backstory of the sensor watch. How did it come to be? Why this particular Casio model? And yeah, where are you hoping to go with it?
So this is very much an open hardware story. I've seen Travis Goodspeed's Good Watch, which the Good Watch, if you don't know of it, it's the kind of classic Casio calculator watch that they made.
Oh, yeah.
And he's made TI makes this chip. It's an MSP for something or other based mod for that board. So you take your Casio calculator watch apart, you put in Travis's Good Watch board inside, and now you've got his does ham radio transmissions. You can use it to transmit garage door openers. It's specifically designed for RF kind of stuff. So that was kind of the genesis. When I was first making the open book, I was like, wow, that's really cool to make a watch. I'll never be able to do that. That's way beyond my skills. But then in December 2019, I saw Greg Davil was doing this kind of advent calendar of making. It was, let's make one circuit board every day in December till Christmas. And he called it Arm Watch, and it was a mod for that Casio calculator watch, but using the SAM L22, which is microchips. It's like the SAM D21, but it's lower power. That's the L.
Okay, yeah.
The L22 has a built-in LCD driver, which means it can speak the language of this kind of LCD glass on these kind of classic wristwatches.
Got it. Perfect. That sounds super appropriate for this project. Yeah.
Totally. It ends up being a one-chip solution as opposed to, I made this little LCD feathering gadget, and it's cool, but it's I2C, it's a separate chip you would have to use. So this way, the L22 just does all of that on board.
Cool.
So yeah, January of 2020, I got it in my head to do kind of blending the Arm Watch idea with the F91W, which, again, the F91W just felt like if there's ever a watch you wanted to target for this kind of thing, that's going to be it. You can walk into a Walmart anywhere in the country and pick up an F91W. You don't have to special order it online. It's not some strange unobtainium, G-Shock they only made.
$15 or something.
$15. Yeah. And I'm wearing a A158, which is kind of this shiny stainless steel version that they made. And I wore this to a friend's wedding. It feels kind of dressy enough. You can find
shiny helps.
Yeah, they make one of these kind of gold-plated stainless or gold-colored stainless steel. So you can dress it up, you can dress it down. It's the only wristwatch worn by both Barack Obama and Osama bin Laden.
I like that claim to fame. That's an interesting one. Oh, cool.
So that's kind of the background of how I ended up picking the F91W, and then really from January of 2020 to December 2020, like that was kind of the year of building the watch, building out the firmware, coming up with ways for people to like develop watch faces. And then we launched on Crowd Supply January 2021, just 1 year to the day after I first tweeted out the idea. So now we've shipped about 500. We're going to ship another 300 this week and then another 700 next month. And that's going to be the full Crowd Supply campaign order.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Wow, congratulations on that. That is really cool. I'm glad it's resonating with so many people. That must be fun.
It really is. And it's fun that there's a community that's kind of embracing it now. Like I created like a Discord channel for the oddly specific objects kind of business. And ever since the watch boards started shipping, like folks in the community are like from all angles contributing really cool stuff. Like I hadn't built a proper alarm face yet, like just to set an alarm. And right now there's a pull request for an alarm face with 16 alarms. You can set 16 alarms with, weekdays or weekends or, short, low tone beep, high tone beep, very configurable, not something that I've had the time to dive into, but it's really cool. And Zepto Bars, who posts really cool, like decapped chips on Twitter. He's been working on his sensor watch, trying to get the accuracy even higher. And so like really cool,
like watch accuracy, like time accuracy itself. Okay, Dang.
Because there's a frequency correction kind of component to the real-time clock in the L22. Okay, so you can adjust the frequency of the real-time clock in like I think it's 1 or 10 parts per million. I forget. No, it's 1 part per million, I think. Anyway, so by monitoring the temperature or like kind of like measuring the exact frequency of the output, he's working on like improving the accuracy of the clock, which is already pretty good, but could be
because it is. I mean, it's essentially being driven off of the crystal at the outset, right? Or is it okay?
Yes. So that little little crystal on the down cam is
we can do a little microscope view here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So just next to the chip, there's that little crystal labeled 19199. So that is a 32,768 hertz crystal, and those two little capacitors next to it are the load capacitors. And so basically, once the watch starts running, that crystal is just keeping time, oscillating about 32,768 times per second.
Yeah. My capacitors are kissing.
Yeah, that is it's okay. That's both ground. So
no, that could totally happen when you have like short little traces in between them and pads. 402s can get pulled around by solder a whole lot.
But yes, but the crystal does like very, very slightly with temperature and other factors. So if you measure the output very carefully on against a really known good time source, like a GPS compensated oscillator, you can adjust the frequency to make it even tighter tolerances. So that's what I believe Zeptavars was working on.
Nice. It's so interesting. Yeah, basically this entire board is the chip.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, chip, crystal. We have. So I really like this USB connector. I think that is super slick. Really nice job on that.
That's not my design. I got that off of an Eagle library. Eagle library.
Nice. Well, nice job, whoever came up with that, and good for you for finding it and being like, oh, I have the perfect use for it. Now that I've seen it, I'm kind of like, oh, I wonder how I could do that. Totally. But yeah, that's super cool. So let's see, what else do we have on the board? What do we have over here?
So that's a 3.3 volt voltage regulator, and that is only ever used when you're plugged into USB. Yep. So that regulates the 5 volt USB down to 3.3. But once the watch is clipped in on your wrist, it's just getting powered directly from the 3 volt coin cell. So there's no voltage regulator involved.
Nice. Nice. And then we have some resistors and an LED over here.
Those two at the top are current limiting for the red and green. And then that other one, I believe that's a reset pull-up, just to keep the reset line high.
And then let's see over here. So here we have the connector for the LCD, I am assuming.
No, that's actually the connector for the sensor board. So you're going to plug your temperature sensor into that.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's the
LCD connector.
LCD?
And that's
nice.
When we take it apart, you'll get to see they use this really cool zebra strip style connector, which once you zoom in on the zebra strip connector, it'll make perfect sense why they call it that.
Cool. And then we have more capacitors and resistors hanging out over here.
Yeah, the kind of decoupling, and there's actually a LCD voltage that's kind of higher than 3 volts, so that one of those is to stabilize that.
Yep.
Core voltage, and then there's kind of an inductor at the bottom left there.
That one.
And that's to
or
sorry.
Ooh, which one? I assume the inductor is the bigger one.
It's the bigger one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that is the SAM-L22 has a kind of more efficient switching mode voltage regulator to get its like kind of 1.2 core voltage. So we enable the switching mode regulator, which requires that external inductor to
operate. Yep.
Just ever so slightly better power characteristics.
Cool. Well, I mean, so yeah, power has to be king in this design because you want it to last really long off of your watch battery.
Totally.
Cool. Awesome. And then this is the teeny tiny little sensor board that came with it. And so basically we just have a thermistor on here and a resistor for the thermistor. Yeah.
And it's a very simple circuit, but all of the 5 GPIOs on the sensor board are analog inputs. So, one of those is an enable pin that you just pull that pin low to like bring current through the voltage divider. And then we just measure the middle to see where our temperature is. Nice.
Cool.
And on the backside, we have some test points if you wanted to break out additional pins to do things like, I don't know. Some folks have had some cool ideas for it, whether breaking out a UART from it or stuff like that. So
nice. Ooh, could probably do. Yeah, that would be interesting to break out a UART. So I'm going to go over here now because I think it's probably time to take this watch apart.
I think so, yeah.
Ooh, so we have Will Johnston in the comments says that he's trying to figure out how feasible it is to make the watch an NFC keyboard.
NFC. There's 2 different options for this. One, if you just wanted to have an NFC tag inside the watch, someone on the Sensor Watch Discord actually already did this. They just kind of inside the front bezel of the watch, they stuck an NFC transponder, and that allows you to actually just like scan the whatever that tag is. So that's just a physical mod. If you wanted the NFC to actually like interact with the watch itself, we're still working on that. I know there is an NFC based EEPROM that also speaks I2C that we could use to kind of bridge from like microcontroller like the watch to NFC interface. I don't know if the antenna is going to fit inside the watch. That's my only concern. So antenna design is a bit above my pay grade. So
yeah, mine too.
Anyone with RF stuff wants to get in there and figure out, can we put an NFC antenna inside that little area? There is a work in progress kind of design in the repo.
Nice.
While you do that, I'm going to disassemble. I thought I had a gold tone watch. Here we go. Disassemble this one over here.
So I have to say that this little driver by iFixit was perfect for the task.
Hey, twins. Flag bag.
Totally. I have the Minnow, which is like their tiny little kit, and I forget which one this is. I get the Mako and the Mahi mixed up with this. I think this is like the medium-sized kit. But yeah, super useful for when you need those things. Because yeah, even my teeny tiny Wiha driver was just a little bit too big for this. Watches need super, super small hardware and super small tools to get it out.
One fun one is the F91W actually uses a hybrid screw. It should be both Phillips and flathead if you only have one on hand.
Oh, interesting. Nice.
I once was about to go on a hike with my build of the firmware and discovered I had a bug and it crashed. So I very quickly, using the Swiss Army knife eyeglass repair kit, driver, unscrewed the back, reset the watch.
Yeah. All right. So I have to say that one of the most satisfying videos I think I've seen recently was your video of the folder.
It's a fun piece of equipment.
Yeah, that was super cool. Just like I could watch that for a long time, just watching it like spit out these things.
I never posted it. I made a GIF of myself just standing there, and it kind of one of those infinity GIFs where the panther just keeps like coming out.
Hello, JP. It's good to have you here.
Hey.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So I'm on number 3 of the instruction. Carefully remove the black gasket. Ooh, taking care to note its orientation. Interesting. Okay.
So there's a right side up and an upside down. Just
Right. Got it. Because it has like a little sort of smushed channel in it right now from the plate here, from the ridges in the plate.
mm-hmm. And that side that's up is the one that actually provides the water resistance. So
there we go. So we will be a little careful here. Is there a preferred place to kind of start?
Not really.
Okay.
Wherever's clever. You can even do it with a kind of fingertip.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to poke a hole in it. There we go. So I just like kind of rolled my finger across it. So I'm going to place it in the up orientation on my thing here. Let's see. Let's can get this all the way up. Okay. All right. And then remove the watch movement. So yes, I have a question here. I don't know what a watch movement is.
So the watch movement is just that whole piece in there with the yellow or the white sticker on it. So if you just grab like that with your hands, you can kind of pull the whole thing out.
There's like a little spring here too.
You got that little spring. Yeah, that's a nice little handle.
Oh, okay. I can. Like I'm kind of hesitant to yank on that. Oh, I got it. Woohoo! One fingernail does the trick.
There you go.
Awesome. Does the is that little spring, is it actually like a sensor as well that like senses that the back is on or anything, or is it just?
So if you look at the kind of back plate, that round the metal plate.
This guy?
No, on your other side.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that round piece of metal there labeled A141.
Yeah.
That is the piezo buzzer.
Oh, no way.
And so that little springy thing is what makes contact with the piezo buzzer to make it buzz.
That is fascinating. Wow, that is super thin. I mean, I just looked at it and thought it was a sticker.
Right?
Yeah. Wow. That is quite impressive. Like,
so fun fact, the other, because the piezo buzzer needs it needs two poles to work, right?
mm-hmm.
So the piezo buzzer is driven by both that little springy thing at the bottom, and at the very top of the battery case, the 3-volt terminal is connected to the outside of the watch case. So like the rest of the metal.
Yep.
So those are the two things that let the piezo buzzer buzz.
Yep. Cool.
So if you wanted to solder, you can remove that little springy thing and put it on the sensor watch board. That is the only piece of soldering required if you want the buzzer to work. If you don't do it, the watch still works. The buzzer just doesn't.
Got it.
So
got it, because it's now essentially disconnected. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Cool. All right. Yeah, I don't think. I don't know. I'm not super. Well, I guess I am set up for soldering, but I think I'll leave that for some time else. Gotta have extra hacking add-ons, right? To do
totally.
All right. So unclip the metal retainer from the white plastic enclosure.
So if you look at my down cam here, there's these 4 little clips right here. So you just kind of unclip each one.
Yeah, it's hard to get my finger in there. Okay, that one. First one's probably the hardest. 1, 2. There we go. Yep. Yeah, that one was much easier. And then there we go. 3. Still have to actually pry the 4th one off. It's held in there pretty well. 4.
There you go. Cool. So now you got the battery, which
I
you
got
can
the battery.
remove and set aside because we're going to reuse the same battery.
Cool. CR 2016, pretty standard.
It's a little adhesive on there.
Yeah.
Actually, you can take the whole green board out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So set that aside. There we go.
And then that little kind of metal clippy thing that's currently attached to the green board,
Yes.
we're going to take that as well.
Ooh, okay. Dang, scavenging. I like it.
That's another reason I've kind of made this. I've got this. I think we all have this vague feeling of collapse or end of the world. I don't know. Like really.
Yes.
I do like
doom, impending doom.
Impending doom, right? But I do like the idea of salvage tech as like something that we should be thinking more about. You know, like like there's how many of these old F91Ws sitting out there in the world? If you could turn it into something useful by reusing these parts, yeah.
Let's see. I am going to see if I can get a better view for people this way. So, all right. Oh yeah, I can get a better view for my old eyes this way too. So yeah, it's just like a little brink, two little tangs that pop through, and you can just kind of pop them right off pretty easily. Kind of, come on. Tweezers might be a little bit easier, but come on. I'll make it work here. There you go. Cool. It's kind of neat that that wasn't soldered in. Like I wouldn't have expected that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Awesome.
So now you've essentially taken all the parts you need, except for that little like springy thing. Yeah, all the parts you need from the existing movement. Now we're going to put the sensor watch in. Before you turn off the microscope cam.
Yeah.
Can we put the white piece with like the LCD underneath the microscope?
Totally.
So at the top there, well, I guess it's the bottom in this case. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's flip it over.
Flip it over.
So that strip at the top, that kind of gray strip.
Mm-hmm.
See all the little stripes?
Oh, holy crap. Wow.
Yeah. So that's the zebra strip connector, and
That's
that
insane.
is pressed up against the glass, like the LCD glass, and it's also going to press up against the sensor watch circuit board, and that's how we connect the LCD to the circuit board.
That's insane. I can't believe that that actually works. I want to see. Let me see if I can actually get an even better view of this. It's a little hard for me to see the focus on there, but yeah, that's pretty good. You can actually see all of the tiny little contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Holy, wow. So we have a question. Is the board compatible with Casio, Timex, or both?
So the board is only compatible with Casio, and in fact, it's only compatible with the Casio F91W in particular. There's a lot of other Casio watches that look like the F91W, but are not. And it does not work with those. So yeah, it's very specific to that particular Casio model.
Cool. All right. So I wonder if I can, I might be able to do this here a little bit better, actually. Let's try that.
Aha.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to take a look at my down cam really quick.
Yeah.
I've taken apart this glass, and you can
Nice.
kind of see in the reflection the electrodes of the LCD glass. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're making contact with.
Crazy.
And the zebra strip is just dense enough that we're going to have a few connections per electrode.
Nice. Let me see if I can. There we go. All right. So we have white plastic. Okay. So place the sensor watch circuit board in the white plastic enclosure. But first. So yes, so this ships with some pretty cool firmware that already gives you like sunrise, sunset, moonrise. Of course, you have to program in your location, and also time, of course.
time and temperature.
Temperature from the temperature board. And was there anything else on the original?
I think that was it. I think it was time, temperature. Oh, and one world clock slot if you want to have an alternate time zone.
Ah, got it. And so, but there are also some other cool pieces of firmware that you can flash on here that are already made.
So at sensorwatch.net.
Yes, sensorwatch.net. And so let's see. There are a bunch. Let me kind of do this right now so that y'all can see. There we go. So there are all of these at the top here. So movement standard is what it ships with. And then there's focus. Yeah, so tomato timer, what is tomato timer?
So I believe the term Pomodoro timer is trademarked, but it is a system of productivity where you have moment, like a duration of focus time followed by a break of 5 minutes. So I think I did not, by the way, this is the value of community. I did not build this watch face. Wesley Ellis, who goes by Tannock on Twitter, he built several watch faces, including the tomato timer. But yeah, so you'll have 25 minutes of like deep focused work, and then it'll beep at you, take a 5-minute break, take a walk, take a breather, and then it'll beep at you to get back to it.
Nice. Yeah. And then we have the athlete, which is all sorts of stopwatches, countdowns, exercise counter, pulsometer. So that has to be an extra part.
It is not. A pulsometer is actually a watch complication dating back to the 19th century. The idea is you hold down a button on the watch and you listen for your pulse.
Okay. So you're manually counting. Got it.
Right. But basically all you have to do is count, I believe it's 30 pulses. And then when you let go, the number displayed on the screen is the beats per minute of that. So
right. Yeah. Cool.
Not quite as shiny as your, pulse oximeter watch.
I know, I was like, wow, how small can you get that for on a sensor board,
But I think it is cool to think this is a
obviously watches do it, so it is.
And it's a very classic watch complication. Like doctors, like in the golden era of mechanical watches, would have this as an option.
Yeah. Nice. And then so we have the one that I'm interested in, which is the backpacker, and this has clock, sunrise, sunset, and I think it also has moon phase too, or moonrise.
Oh, does it not? I meant to have that in there.
I think it says when I scrolled down, it had more. It said, okay, moon phase.
Okay, yeah. It is in there. Good.
So yeah, cool. So we have sunrise, sunset, moon phase, and temperature, of course. I really like the temperature log because it is always interesting to see just how cold did it get last night, because I felt pretty cold. Mm-hmm. And then the blinky light could definitely be useful. Although, as you pointed out, it is definitely a battery killer. So perhaps only in emergency situations.
Yeah. But it's nice. It's nice to just have it on your wrist in case.
Yeah. And then there's Stargazer, which has some astronomy in it as well. Mm-hmm. I think declinations to planets.
Mm-hmm. You can calculate, telescope coordinates for your planets.
Nice. And then Deep Space Now, which has Mars time on it, and any other planetary times that you would like to input.
The world clock I just put on because there's the Deep Space Network is in 3 places: Goldstone, Canberra in Australia, and Madrid in Spain. Mm-hmm. So you could put those 3 in. So if you needed to, pick up the phone and dial up one of the big dishes talking to the sky, I don't know.
Nice, as you might, never know. And then alt.time, simple clock, beat time, and day 1. What is counts the number of days from a given date?
So, I imagined it as how many days have you been alive?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it counts up. It's not like time remaining till right. It's not a countdown to a date.
I've seen new parents who there's a clock out there where it starts counting from a day, and a new parent will start the day on day 1 of their baby, their newborn, and just count up from there.
Cool. Awesome. Well, so those are all the things that we can do. So okay, now of course, once you put the sensor watch board back into the watch, the USB port is no longer accessible. I don't know if this will focus very well. So if I want to load the backpacker firmware on this, better do it now.
Yeah.
Cool. So how do we do that?
So there's download links. Also, there's an emulator link. So if you can click the try it out link to see like in the emulator what it looks like. And so,
check that out.
oh, wow. I've never seen it in this color scheme.
Oh, because I have dark reader on.
I didn't know. I'm going to have to ask Alex if he did that. I did not know. I didn't know it did that.
Yeah, I don't know if it does that or if Dark Reader has some magic going on. It definitely Dark Reader has some interesting functionality.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, good.
Oh, it's just great. I mean, I way prefer my screens not blinding me because my screens are quite big. And so, yeah, I use Dark Reader on a lot of stuff. But cool.
Yeah, so in this case, you can click the little mode button on the left there to kind of cycle through watch faces. No location for the sunrise, sunset.
That's so satisfying.
But actually, if you click the set location register button down there.
Set location register. Okay. It's probably not going to get it quite right because our provider is based kind of somewhere else. But
also, they didn't pop up asking for it. It might not. Your privacy settings might be set to not do that. So, yeah. Anyway, point is moon phase. You can see you got the crescent moon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's the temperature is always always 25 degrees in the emulator. Very pleasant there. And then temperature log, no data, and then start to log, and then blinky light.
Cool.
So nice. So back at the firmware download page.
Yeah, back at the firmware download page. Where are we? Oh no, that's GitHub. There we go.
You can just download now for your board is the green circuit board.
Yes.
So let's download that.
Excellent. Link. Cool. And that's good.
So then you'll just plug it into a USB port.
All right. And now the orientation of this, I'm going to switch back to downward camera for right now. Yeah, the contacts are on top, so I should just be able to plug it in just like this. Just normally. Oh, hang on.
There we go.
Yeah. Let's zoom back out or out just a smidge. There we go. Cool. All right, and there we go.
That might be. Is that backwards? I can't tell. Is it upside down?
The
contacts just need to face the
contacts are, I think, on the top. Are they on the no, they're on the bottom of the connector.
The bottom, yeah.
They're on the bottom. Got it. Yep. So upside down. There we go. Let's see. And should be getting power through the USB, so don't need anything else. Okay. I did not hear it mount.
Well, it wouldn't mount until you have to check the back side here. There's this tiny little reset button.
Oh, check that out. Okay.
So you're going to double tap that with a fingernail.
All right.
And then you should get this kind of nice.
Wow, I did not know that they made buttons that small. That's amazing.
I literally went to DigiKey and sorted by smallness.
I might have to do this under the microscope. Okay, so little tiny button right there.
Double tap.
It's pretty crazy. Okay. Did I get it?
Did you get a red flashing LED?
No, it is not flashing red. Let's see. Let's try it again. I'm not sure if I pressed it hard enough. That definitely made contact.
You can also pinch the board slightly, just kind of like.
Oh, just pinch it over it, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I can get it better with my fingernail, I think. not seeing it. Hello, are you alive? Let me just make sure I have this like looked in the right way.
The other worry is sometimes not all USB cables cooperate with this hack.
Yeah, okay, so the contacts are definitely down, so I want the board to be like this. Okay, I'm gonna try. Oh, wait, hang on. Haha, operator error. The hub for that cable wasn't on. Ah, there we go. Now I'm hearing something. Okay. So let's try to do it again. Definitely heard the mounting dings. I'm not seeing any lights though. This should be.
Let's try that double tap again.
Okay. Oh, I did see the light flash when I tapped it.
I think it needs to be a little faster. The double tap needs to be pretty quick.
A little faster? Okay.
Yeah. I saw the blink.
Yeah, I saw it blink, but it should still be flashing.
It should still be flashing, yeah. Like, okay. Well, as fast as you can.
Aha! All right. Just had to tap it like I meant it.
So now it's as simple as just dragging that UF2 file onto the watch boot drive that just popped up.
Oh, dang. All right, that's pretty cool. Now I have to find stuff. All right. Cool. Have a lot of things going on the screen at the moment. All right, so get back to the PC. Boop, boop, boop. Where are you? Watch boot. Excellent. And need another one in my downloads. Awesome. And just the backpacker dash green UF2, dragging it over. Blink, blink, blink. All right. So I think
let's do it one more time. Just if you don't mind, let's do it one more time just because I'm paranoid. The bootloader has a failsafe where after 60 seconds it leaves bootloader mode. Just I've had one person experienced it got in the bootloader mode on his wrist. There. So I think we might have been at the 1 minute mark.
Got it.
I just want to make sure that we actually flash the firmware.
Cool. Yes. No, I appreciate that. And I'm going to line up my windows right now so that it's just super easy to drag and drop over. And hang on a second. Let's just do that. And then, okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, right. Because yes. Okay. So first I have to do the double tap.
Double tap.
And now I'm getting good at this now. So, haha. Yeah. So that's all good. And now it shows up. Watch boot. And now I'm just dragging and dropping the UF2. And it did a little doot and disappeared.
There you go.
Sweet. Doot and disappeared. So yeah. So there we go. So now I can unplug it.
Now you can unplug it
and start reassembling.
Yep.
Oh, that's so exciting. Okay.
Oh, the temperature sensor board.
Oh, temperature sensor board. Yes. And I'm going to stop screen sharing at this moment. Yes, there we go. All right. And all right. So temperature sensor board. So we got this little guy. And I'm going to maybe put this back over to microscope. Cool. And so this guy has contacts on one side.
Yeah, so that little brown,
yeah.
What do you call it?
It's like the little locking tab, I guess I call it.
You open that up. And
in this way?
Other way.
Other way?
Yeah, because it's going to... have to fit inside the footprint of the watch. So.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like
I'm
I can show you on the
super confused. Yeah. It's an interesting little tab connector that I haven't.
So if you are holding it like this, it goes in with the thermistor side up,
yeah.
and then it just slides in like from the top. So
right. Okay.
My one regret, I didn't include
Got
this
it.
step in the video. I forgot. So
What's that?
I forgot to include this step in the video. So I'm
Well, you know, there's nothing like having a live person to watch put your stuff together to be like, oh yeah, we should probably mention that thing. Got it. I'm just having trouble actually grabbing it. There we go. So in there. And like, I don't need necessarily a microscope for this. Definitely some magnification would be good, but I think like a nice ring light would be totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
And put that tab back.
There it is.
Nice. There we go. Cool.
So now we get to reassemble.
All right. How the heck did I do this again? I didn't take pictures, so. Awesome. Okay. So place the sensor watch circuit board in the white plastic enclosure. And right. And so now, let's see, get them both in. Yeah. So we have connector going to little zebra connector.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put it in like that. And oh, nice little locating pegs. Yeah. Awesome. Fits right in. Cool. And then place the battery negative side down on the battery.
The battery clip there too.
Oh, clip. Yep. Yes, yeah. Clip.
I hope I put that in the printed instructions.
Well, it says actually, so the instructions say 8, place the sensor watch circuit board in the white plastic enclosure. 9, place the battery negative side down on the battery contact. And then 10 is clip the metal retainer back onto the assembly.
Yeah, that battery contact line is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I should have been more explicit.
No problem. So yes, so battery, I guess I'm not sure which the battery contact.
That's this little metal thing we pulled out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy goes down first.
Yeah.
Got it.
And he gets to stay there from now on. You don't have to take that off when you
nice
upload more firmware.
Cool. Awesome. So I just like pushed down at the two little tabs that are going through the holes. Okay, awesome. So then place the battery negative side down on the battery contact. Okay. Boink. And then clip the middle retainer back onto the assembly. Ooh, orientation here probably makes a difference.
So there's one side that has 2 button pushers and one side that has 1.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. Looking at them. Yeah. Okay. Got it. And then I gotta look at this again. Okay. So, right. That is the 2 button pushing side. So my 2 button pushing side is down right now, I think. And then my, yeah, single button side is up. Okay. And then there we go. So that should be like this. Okay. Now I have to do this in my hands. And we'll go back over to that view. All right.
I'm also reassembling my gold tone watch right now with the backpack firmware as well.
Nice. And cool. It's not. Oh. Let's see. It is. Definitely have it oriented correctly. Having a little trouble getting these clipped down. I'm going to just take a look at it. So let's see. Yeah, that seems to be going in the right spot. I've never taken apart a watch before, so this is all unfamiliar territory.
It becomes very
There we go. It just needs a little bit of like active pushing down on these, like squeezing and pushing down on these tabs, it seems. I feel like I'm having to squeeze a lot. Is my battery aligned well? Yeah, my battery seems to be aligned well. I don't think it could be misaligned, really. Okay. There we go. Got it. Okay. Yeah, kind of pushing down. So pushing down in the middle doesn't really help because it's basically like a big spring because it has all these tabs sticking out. Like your tab is on a tab. And so basically pushing down like right here in this area was what made the made this actually go down and everything engage. So once I figured that out, that was no big deal. Cool. We are all snapped in. Cool. All right, it's 12:01.
There you go.
Yay.
So that is the Sensor Watch backpacker firmware running on your Sensor Watch.
Awesome. Look at that. Cool. So yeah, it would actually probably be good to go through it a little bit at this point just to make sure that everything is like all hunky-dory, right? Before putting it back in. So this guy, where's the mode? This guy's the mode. Oh, there we go. No location. And then crescent, moon. And then 32.
At this point, it's reading a lot of your 98.6 body heat.
Yeah.
On the module.
I'm confused though. Okay, so it's in C.
Yeah, you can press the bottom right button, the alarm button, to change it to F.
Okay. But it seems to be too low. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it says 89-03.
89.3.
89 point. Got it.
As last, the little Casio watches don't have a decimal point. So rather than, yeah.
Got it. Cool. Because I was like, I believe the 89. I don't believe the -1 degree. Cool. Okay, cool. Nice. And so there we go. No data because we haven't been logging temperature. And then red is just backlight color, or
so this is the blinky face where you can make it blink colors if you want to.
Okay.
I honestly forget the controls for this one, but it's on the documentation side.
Cool. And then 12-hour.
So this is the setting screen, and this is the time set screen at the very end.
Nice. Oh, I went through. Good job. Come on. Crescent. Sure. Data. It feels like, okay, so this is time set.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it kind of mirrors the Casio where like the alarm button changes the value and the light button cycles through the fields.
Nice.
Um,
I don't know which is which right now, but that's okay. Okay, yeah, that's the cycling through fields.
seconds,
Oh, and year. Yeah.
month,
Cool.
day, and then there's also a time zone. If you go one more further.
That's super cool. Okay.
And the time zone is important because it uses the time zone to calculate offsets for both the world clock and the sunrise sunset.
Cool. All right. We can go through setting it in a bit. Okay, so I think I'm pretty convinced that I'm ready to reassemble it into the enclosure now.
All right.
Awesome. Okay. So we got this guy. We only have 4 pieces left, so should be pretty easy. I know that goes in like that. And that the little buttons make contact. Do I have to be kind of careful about these when I put them in? Like, should I
make sure the little buttons in the watch case are all kind of pushed to the out position?
Yeah.
Like, I think you're fine there.
Yeah. Cool. And then the gasket. Kind of just trying to seat that a little bit. How water resistant are these? Like kind of splash proof, rain proof, that kind of thing?
I mean, I put one through the washing machine and it was fine.
Oh, wow. Nice.
I've showered with it. I've heard people who swim with it. It's definitely not your kind of diving watch, but they've been quoted in the past as saying 10 meters for a F91W. So that's not nothing, but it's definitely not a deep sea diving kind of timepiece.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, all right. So just kind of squish it on there and
on there, screw the back on and
back on. Okay, cool. I was trying to see if it I feel like it's not seating. Gotta look under the microscope again. Yeah, like this edge, I feel like is not. Oh, maybe. Oh, it's really, really small. Okay. So interesting. So the metal does protrude a little bit proud of the plastic even when it's all the way in.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was curious about. I'm like, it's not flush. So not supposed to be flush.
So just a little, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm totally using one of these mats that has like the little dishes in it so that my screws didn't disappear on me.
Classic problem, yeah.
Yes. Well,
I've destroyed enough F91Ws though that I have some spares sitting around.
Nice. So actually, that's a good question. Can you actually source spare screws, or do you just have spare ones around from other spare watches?
I just have spare ones around from other watches. Yeah. In theory, Casio sells replacement things for a lot of watches, but in practice, unless you're a distributor or a watch repair shop, you can't get those. And
that's a bummer.
They're almost more expensive than just getting another F91W, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, hardware is a thing. I was just recently looking for some screws for these CR2032 battery holders. Because there's a thing about making it harder to take CR2032 batteries out of things to make them a little bit more child safe. And so I was like, oh well, if there's a screw involved, if it takes a tool to remove them, instead of it just popping open that style.
Yeah, I remember you posting about this. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, then I thought it would be good. And these battery holders, they already have. Oh, actually, I have one right here. It's this style. They already have 2 holes right here on the top, and the little plastic standoffs in the middle.
Mhm.
Hard to see on the clear. Sorry about that. But maybe,
I
there,
see it,
if I turn it that way, you can see it.
Mhm.
So all you need are like 2 screws to ship with it, and then, it can be a kid-safe thing. But the only screws that it comes with are these 2 that, form the hinge and keep the switch in up here. And just trying to find this kind of screw was a little bit challenging. It's like I don't know, I think it was like a M2. And you don't want the machine threads because they're too small to bite into plastic. So it was like M4 kind of like plastic cutting screws, and quite challenging.
That is a whole world that I would like to learn more about, like the whole industrial design side of things. Maybe next year.
Yeah. All right, just tightening up these guys. Cool. Look at that. It's a watch.
That is a watch.
It's a watch. It's a super cool watch. Oh, I'm excited about this. Cool. And so there are instructions on entering your just your lat and long coordinates, right?
Yeah, you enter your lat long on the sunrise sunset screen. You enter your time zone and time on the time set screen, and there are also some settings like you can customize the LED backlight color, make it green, make it red, make it amber.
Nice.
All kinds of fall shades available to you.
Excellent. So there we go. Took about an hour to do slowly while chatting.
Well, it took an hour to also show off to folks,
Yeah. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Cannot some standard machine screws or something work? Yeah. So like the machine threads are just too fine, and you need kind of these plastic cutting threads, or sheet metal screws also tend to work for this, but they don't make sheet metal screws that small. So you just need a coarser thread than even the coarse machine screw threads are at that really teeny tiny M2 size.
Yeah.
Yep. But awesome. Well, I'm excited. So you also have a bunch of other projects going on.
Yeah. So it's funny. Sensor Watch kind of happened after the open book, but the open book was my first sort of attempt at an electronics project, a product of anything like that. And I think Sensor Watch kind of leapfrogged in front of it because the open book had become very complex, very complicated, and very hard to make.
Yeah.
And I was like, Sensor Watch, it's simpler. It's the whole, like you said, the whole board is the chip, basically. Like there's not that much stuff on it. So I've learned a lot of valuable lessons after a year of working on the Sensor Watch, and now it's like I'd like to come back to the open book and see what I can do with it to simplify the design, make it easier for folks to build, that sort of thing. Nice. So I have actually, I guess I can show the original. It all started back here, the ebook Feather Wing, which this is an Adafruit Feather compatible gadget. This was like the first way that I designed it, where you actually plug your Feather in, and that would be the kind of controller for the book. And then you'd have all these kind of peripherals attached to it. Eventually I got it to the point where it became kind of an all-in-one gadget, but it was still way too complicated. I threw the kitchen sink at this thing. It had a headphone jack for audiobooks. It had a microphone preamp for voice commands. It was too much stuff. So I've kind of dramatically pared down the open book to just the parts. Oh, let me push this up.
There's a request for a pink backlight on the Sensor Watch.
Well, funny thing, it exists. The special edition boards, the blue ones with the blue circuit board instead of the green, they had a red and blue backlight instead of red and green, and so you can make pink.
Nice.
If you wanted to, there's I can put the part number in the Discord, but there's a red-blue LED that you can just swap onto the board and turn yours into a special edition watch.
Nice.
Just requires a little hot plate work, and it's it would be an easy swap. Yes, you can.
I love it.
So yeah. Oh, actually, funny thing, you can also mod it to. This is one that I've been playing with. I modded this one to have a there we go, white backlight.
Ooh.
Oops. Yeah.
There's much excitement about the pink.
But yeah, open book. Just kind of simplified it down to before it used like I've simplified it to the point that for this version, it's actually using AAA batteries rather than LiPo, because I've gotten rid of the LiPo charging circuit. I've gotten rid of the dealing with like the shipping of LiPo batteries.
Yes,
uses the Raspberry Pi Pico, because now I don't have to worry about people placing down a tiny USB port or really small fiddly like voltage regulator parts and things. I also designed this castellated e-paper display module where folks will just be able to buy this like module as one thing and plop it down onto the board instead of soldering this really fine pitched like flex connector. So this is like where the open book is at right now. And let me pull this. This one is actually my everyday carry open book. I've been reading Werner Vinge novel on it.
Nice.
But yeah, this is the state of the UI right now. And I've got my deepness in the sky right here. So yeah, this is kind of the reading experience on the open book right now. You've got forward page, back a page. The refresh it's under a second. It's akin to turning a page in a book. It's not like as fast as a Kindle whatever, but it's also not as expensive as a Kindle whatever. It's a do-it-yourself open hardware design. So this
where
is the open
do
book.
you find, what format do the books have to be in order to be read on this, and where do you find books in that format?
So the books have to be in plain text. Like my vision for the open book is .txt UTF-8 is the canonical format for a book.
Yes.
So I wrote a little Python script that converts EPUBs into text files for use in the open book. And in this case, the publisher of A Deepness in the Sky insisted that it be published without DRM. So I just bought the EPUB, ran it through my script, and now I have a gigantulous text file of this space opera that I'm reading.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I need to read some of him.
I read the first one in this series. What was it called? Something Upon the Deep, A Fire Upon the Deep, and that was like so engrossing. I read it in like 3 days. It was really good. Recommend highly. But yeah, so that's this is the state of the UI, and I'm kind of treating this version as like the developer preview edition. I want folks to like build these, hack on them, play with them. I'm going to bring 20 of these kits to Hackaday SuperCon in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
So I'm going to sell them there, and we can solder them all together,
Cool.
But then once we're there, like start like hacking more on this hardware or this firmware, this software, because I think it's decently written. It's still very like fragile. Like it's not like I have not like made it robust, but the actual like gist of how it might work, like this is creating a window here where I can skip ahead in pages, and it's like this is actually just literally like a series of subviews where it's like there's a kind of a darkened background at 0, 0, and there's like this kind of modal window at like 100, 200, and these like kind of two controls inside, and it's tracking which pieces of the UI are dirty, so it knows where to refresh the partial refresh of the page.
Nice.
So it's a very object-oriented C++ kind of firmware, and it works. I mean, it works well enough that I can sit at a coffee shop and read a book. So,
nice.
It's gonna get better from here.
Heck yeah. So we have a question, that a book would be a huge text file. Are the text files per page, or is it just one giant text file?
So funny you should mention that. The way that it works is that it's just a text file. But the first time that you open up a book, I think I haven't done HuckFin yet. It pops up a modal dialog that says the book is not paginated. And so what this process is the book runs through the entire text file and marks the offsets of each page. That way we know we can have now random access into the book. It's not ideal. It does take a while. So I'm imagining, and maybe in the future, it's a background task. Like you put your text files on, and when you plug in to charge, it like runs this pagination in the background. But it's a very good question. It's been a all-consuming question for the open book for quite some time. Early versions of the book, I had to like have a special like open book file format, but I always believed in plain text. So Yeah, it is plain text. It is a huge text file, but this pagination process is what breaks it up into pages so that we can kind of flip through a massive text file like that.
Cool. Now, I'm guessing that the answer is no because minimum buttons and simplicity, but is there a search function?
At this time, there's not. So at this time, the only things that we have the right left buttons or the previous next page buttons to change pages.
Mhm.
We have this kind of up button to do this kind of fast skip ahead, skip back UI.
Mhm.
And that's where I am right now.
Mhm.
Eventually, I want to have the down button trigger highlights, and then
Yeah.
like the ability to like highlight text on a page.
Mhm.
Haven't written any of that code. A search function would be great. I see no reason why the UI framework I've built couldn't support like a keyboard, like a
Mhm.
on-screen keyboard. But
Oh, yeah.
I have not gotten there yet. This is one of the reasons, like I was saying with Sensor Watch, like once folks kind of buy into the idea and start to love the idea and like are stoked about it, folks start writing software for it. They see the flaws, they see the possibilities, and once we get more of this hardware in people's hands, I think people are gonna like start to be excited about building a search function or building a on-screen keyboard, things like that. I am but one man.
Yes. Yes.
I
know
don't
that
scale
struggle.
quite that broad.
So speaking of being only one man, you're shipping a lot of boards right now. You're shipping a lot of Sensor Watch boards. And I'm curious about like what is your setup like? How, I mean, obviously the boards are kind of small, so that's good. It's probably not taking up a huge amount of space, but still, I mean, you need like the ones that just came in from Fab. You need space for all of the components that you're shipping out.
Yeah.
Ones that have been tested, ones that have been not tested, ones that are all packaged and ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your setup like?
So the setup as it stands is, well, first of all last year I had a workbench at a workshop in New York that prepared. I recently moved from New York back to Texas to help out with some family stuff, long story. But so I don't really have a workbench right now where I'm able to do like the kind of hardware hacking that I normally do. I'm just kind of winging it. But as a result, I've also outsourced a lot of my PCB fabrication and PCB assembly to other folks. I have Cyber City Circuits in Augusta, Georgia, assembling the Sensor Watch circuit boards for me. And they've been shipping them to me in batches. So like the first batch was about 400. The second batch is about 400 as well. So I've been getting them in batches. I've been doing the testing here. And really like this office where I am it's got a desk. It's plenty of space to test boards, pack boards, ship boards. Because they are, pretty small. I have the entire Sensor Watch run for this next shipment is in this plastic bag. It's a project I was hoping to get to today, but I'll finish it up tomorrow. But yeah, so as of right now, my setup is pretty much office oriented. If I ever were to try to, build a new design of the Sensor Watch, like kind of do some of that soldering myself, like set up the reflow oven, I'd probably need more of a workbench. But right now, I'm just I'm kind of in office mode.
Cool. No, that's definitely cool.
I can actually share the process for putting together like a testing Sensor Watch if we want to try that.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
So let's see here. I had set one aside, but it's actually gotten dark in here. Just put another one out. So this is the Sensor Watch circuit board as they come to me from Cyber City Circuits. So I'm going to just my down cam down. This is my Sensor Watch tester and flasher.
Nice.
So this is a LCD in the same form as the F91W. And these test points at the bottom here match up with these programming points on the front side of the circuit board. So when I press it down, I can connect via SWD to flash the bootloader and the code or whatever. Nice. And then this little plastic strip right here. Oh, wow, cool. Static electricity. Static electricity is enough to activate LCDs. That's pretty fascinating, right?
Yeah.
This is actually a zebra strip just sitting in here.
Wow.
So the zebra strip will make contact with the LCD pins underneath. So I'm going to take my Sensor Watch circuit board. I'm going to press it down onto the test points. And I'm going to press the red button. And that flashes the bootloader. So you can see the red LED. Then I'm going to press the yellow button, So this is a test that just basically shows a test pattern on the screen, which if I see that test pattern, I know the LCD is working.
Nice.
If I see the, if I see the 3 colors of LED, I know the LED is soldered properly.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hear the buzzer, I know the buzzer is soldered properly.
Yep.
So this is past test number 2. Then I press the green button, and that loads up test number 3. So this flashing light is actually driven by the real-time clock, the quartz crystal. So if I see it flashing red and green at half-second intervals, I know that the RTC is working.
Yeah.
So now it's passed almost all of the tests.
Nice.
What I need to do now is, oops, my kingdom for a USB cable. Are you plugged in? Let's hope you're plugged in. No. Oh dear. Are there any questions we can?
Here, I can just send you one through the camera right here. There is a question.
Oh, yeah?
Well, first there are some accolades. So about how it refreshes amazingly fast for the hardware in one text file, and that it's very impressive.
Oh, thank you. I will also say that e-paper display is designed to be a price tag. So, you know, it's like we're definitely making the most out of not a lot here.
Nice. Yeah. So that I imagine that's like a pretty static use for it where prices or where fast refreshing is not like
once a day or twice a week. But no, we're coaxing a lot of functionality out of that display.
That's cool. And then how it's been great to see your Twitter feed, the assembly and packaging and stuff like that. So yeah,
I hope folks appreciate that. Like I worry sometimes I'm oversharing, but I feel like a big part of my practice is I want folks to feel like, you know, I'm making this with my hands. You can make things too. Like it's all nothing is magic. You know, if you wanted to make something, it's totally within the realm of within your realm. You know, yeah.
No, definitely. I like doing like behind the scenes process shots too, and they do tend to be the ones that like get the most interaction. So I don't know. I like sharing that stuff, and people seem to appreciate it. So cool. How is the solar testing going? Is a question.
Ooh, we can do that after the sensor watch thing.
All right.
I was just gonna do the last test of the sensor watch.
Yeah.
So here I'm gonna plug. Oh. There's this one test board that I have, which is a sensor board, kind of like your temperature sensor, but it's just got an LED attached to each of the pins on the 9-pin connector.
Yep.
So this is the last test that I do, and I have to do this manually for all 1,000 whatever boards we ship out, because I want to make sure that the connector is working. So I click this in, and I plug it into USB, and now I'll see the alternating lights. Nice. This shows me that all the pins are connected. There are no solder bridges, and also test the 3-volt regulator because I now am getting power off the USB. So at this point, it's passed all the tests. And I literally copy the standard firmware from my computer to this board over USB to make sure the USB is working. And that is the last thing that happens before it goes into a bag and shipped out to you guys.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's really cool because, for something that is, so you want to fully functionally test things before they go out to customers. And especially when you're small, right? And you don't want, it's not like you're making millions of these things and like that you're using processes where a representative sample of whatever just came in is good enough to qualify the whole batch, right? Because that's how big companies do things, right? They don't, every single board or every single thing that goes out the door has not necessarily been fully functionally tested.
Yeah.
But just something from that manufacturing batch has been, and like it's good enough. But yeah, when you're a small business, when you really want to provide a high quality of product to your customers and not have them mad because things don't work, right? And when you don't have the kind of you don't have the resources of Amazon to have like a giant number of returns, right? Like returns are expensive, rework is expensive, and that's money that's going out the door that you're having to spend to do that. So you want to put a little bit more effort in before you ship those things in order to make sure that they all work when they left you. And I feel like that's also important with things like this that the user is handling a lot, because if at some point, something doesn't work, you can be pretty darn confident. You can be like, well, that thing was fully tested when it went out the door, so I know it went out the door working. And not like you want to blame the user or anything, but it helps, because then you can kind of narrow down on what happened.
Absolutely.
And try to make that better. So, but it does, to fully functionally test something, it does tend to involve a lot of hand processes and hand work that are not easy to automate.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all this thing, oh, why don't you just automate all of your testing? And it's like, well, you still got to plug in the USB cable,
Like there's no way to test that 9-pin connector. Like I was talking to David, who runs Cyber City Circuits, and because we're talking about, if I do another batch, I'm probably going to have them do some of this functional testing for me and just pay them for the effort. And he's like, well, could you put test points to like test those 9 pins? And it's like, you really can't, because you're not testing whether the pin's connected to the microcontroller. You're testing whether it's connected all the way through to whatever you plug into that connector.
Yeah.
So unless you actually plug something into that connector, you can't test that particular area of functionality.
Yeah.
But also to your point about, if you test one thing in a batch and it qualifies the whole batch, that's another thing where, being small as I am and also learning as I go, I've seen different failure modes for this particular circuit board. And knowing what I know now about how this board can fail, if I do another run of these, I might make a few slight tweaks to fix some of the issues that I've seen, right? Yeah. And then it might be easier to say, oh, we can qualify this by visual inspection or whatever of some of these things. I think we'll still do full functional testing of everything, because just at this batch size, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
But seeing where the failures happen helps you to adjust the design so you don't have those failures anymore.
Yeah.
I'll give you like 2 examples. One, you mentioned the little load capacitors kind of having a little kiss in the middle there. Those are too close together for my comfort.
Right. Yeah.
They have to be, because that white plastic enclosure, like it just doesn't have a lot of room inside of it. But if I do,
you have to model that? Did you have to make a mechanical CAD model of that in order to assist with your circuit board layout?
This is my process was I just ordered it from Oshpark. I had it in a week or two, and then I saw where it didn't work, and I shifted things over, and I did it again. Yeah. A lot of times I'll print things out on a laser printer and cut them out with scissors and like put it into the white plastic just to see where my parts are landing. But yeah, I'm a very tactile kind of maker when it comes to designing these things.
Yeah.
I feel like I would spend more time. Like I don't know CAD programs well enough to model that, so I just build it and see where the chips fall.
Have you ever? I've done this at times. Have you ever 3D printed a model of your circuit board?
I have, yes.
Yeah, I did that pretty well for just fit checking. Like if you want to fit check your board onto something. Yeah, cool.
I also did that with the open book just to kind of get a sense for the size and shape of it in the hand, and where the batteries like fit, and like how like I had one version where it had the batteries were like off to the side here. It's like, let me 3D print that and see how it feels. It feels real weird. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely 3D printing of things. And yeah, I 3D printed the circuit boards too.
Cool.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say in terms of these capacitors kissing. So if I did another revision, I would definitely try to rearrange those capacitors so that, because that's an area where I saw some failures where the capacitor would bridge over to the crystal, and that would make the RTC test fail.
Yep.
Another one was this 9-pin connector. In the first batch, we saw a few situations where these 2 pins at the far left here are power and ground, and those were bridged.
Yeah.
And so it was like, as I was tweeting about like the failures, me and David kind of brainstormed on Twitter DMs, like, what can we do about this? And we figured out, because these boards are so thin, when the solder paste spreader was going over them, it wasn't getting enough support at this corner. So all the failures happened at the bottom right side of the panel, because this is the bottom rightmost board, where it wasn't getting enough support at that corner. So now when they're doing this, they put another little peg right there to give a little bit of extra support on that corner, and we've had 0 failures in this batch of that bridge. So these are very subtle things that you'd only get to through learning and then exhaustively testing,
Yeah. How many of those boards, I assume that you're getting panels of the PCBs made and like putting them through as panels. How many are on a panel?
We're 10 up, 10 to a panel, 5 and 5. I'd originally done 20 4x5, but these circuit boards are so thin that the pick and place would actually cause the board to flex in the middle.
Yeah.
So
Yep,
when
yep.
we did the special edition boards, we literally just broke the panels of 20 in half and did it 2x5. And for the new panels, I just had PCBWay panelize them as 2x5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So you had a shiny circuit board.
The open book. No one has seen this before. Carrie, you're the only one that's seen this so far. So I designed this open book. Everyone loves this like kind of verbose silk screen, this very detailed silk screen, you know.
I love it too. I mean, I'm kind of jealous because I usually don't make things big enough that I could fit that many words on it. And I'm just like, oh man, that's cool.
It's fun, and it's like it's been compared to Dr. Bronner's a bunch of times.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm actually there for that comparison. It's kind of
that's great. Yeah.
But, I also did some fun like routing like tricks, like some rounded corners, some like very like cool edges, and you can't really see that under the board. You can kind of see in the reflection. But so for this round, when I got the boards for the SuperCon kits, I asked PCBWay to do me a favor and make one with just the stop short in the process, stop short of the solder mask, stop short of the silk screen, and just give me the raw copper board. So this is a open book circuit board that is just like plain old copper. Like there's no Enig coating, no hassle, just like copper board. And you can just see all of the like curved traces and just like what goes on underneath it. I just think it's,
I love it. I love it. I think that's great.
Yeah. So this is all in KiCad, and KiCad has a rounded traces plugin and a teardrop plugin. So the rounded traces are made by that rounded trace plugin, and then these little kind of teardroppy things on each of the buttons where it looks like a little tadpole or something. Yeah,
it's cool. It very much kind of has that like hand-drawn board era look to it, with the rounded and the teardrops. Yeah.
I went out to the very large array, the VLA in New Mexico, and they've got a little, the big dishes that point up in the sky, and they have a little museum attached, and they got some of the old circuit boards they used to put into like these microwave dishes to like do observations of the stars. And it's like clear that someone in the 70s drew this with a Sharpie and etched it in etchant and like soldered these like big chunky, parts. I love that aesthetic, and this rounded traces really brings me back to that.
That's cool. Yeah. Awesome.
So, shiny board.
Shiny.
If we have time for one other thing, I will mention the solar stuff just because.
Go for it.
So I haven't really like shared the fullness of this project, so we haven't really seen it yet. But I got this friend in New York who's a sculptor, and he is working on a piece that involves some lighting. So basically, the piece needs to be like, it's a sculpture, but at nighttime we want the pieces of it to light up. Very simple, no colors, no patterns, just like we need some light at night. But it's going to be in the middle of like kind of a median between like a subway train and the beach. So it's like we're not going to have external power. So we've got to do it solar. And basically I built this gadget to do my the solar thing for my friend here. So I'm using Adafruit's LiPo solar charger here. So my solar panel plugs into here. And then I did this little feather wing that drives 4 channels of very bright 1-watt LED lights from this, like, it's got like 4 MOSFETs down here and 4 current limiting resistors. And yeah, I'm going to plug this battery back in. Oops. Oh, yeah.
Woohoo.
So this is using a firmware that I'm building. I'm calling it Gossamer. Gossamer being like kind of lightweight, kind of airy. It's basically designed to be like very close to bare metal, even though it is in C. And I wanted the word SAM in there because it's designed for SAMD and SAML.
Nice.
This is just basically a clock, and you can very quickly set the time. What is it, 7:24? Well, I guess it doesn't matter because this is not on a timer right now. But eventually, this would be real-time clock would be used to know when to turn the lights on, when to turn the lights off, turn it on around twilight, turn it off around midnight, 1 a.m. No one's like looking at the art at 1 in. And then I've got my 4 channels of lights. So 20%, 30%, 40%. I can reset here. I was hacking on this right before the stream, so it might kind of crash on me.
Oh, it wouldn't be a live demo if something didn't work.
Totally. But yeah, so basically this is my way of like controlling the individual channels of light. And yeah, it'll kick on at like 8 p.m., turn off around 1 a.m. And then, yeah, I have my voltage display over here that shows me the battery voltage. So 4.16, pretty
Nice.
full. And then I basically have just been like letting it run overnight, seeing how far it gets by the morning, letting it charge up during the day. Overcast days, doesn't quite get topped off. Sunny day gets topped off by noon easily. So
Nice.
yeah, solar testing has been going quite well. I delivered a version of this to my friend in New York, so he can like kind of play with the LEDs inside of his sculptures, see how much light he needs. But yeah, like you're seeing, like this is only at 50%, and that is very, very bright. Like, I mean, it's illuminating my face from that's 100%. And then yeah, we can kind of go down from there. I think I messed up my down button. I think that's what's crashing the firmware. Live demo.
Oops.
But yeah, so yeah, this is just my my little gadget for solar stuff. And then yeah, not doing a great job of content marketing, but I originally was going to use my button and buzzer feather wing, which is the feather wing that I have for just
And Adafruit is carrying a bunch of these, right? A bunch of your feather wings.
They're carrying one of them. They're carrying the LCD feather wing, so you can get that on Adafruit's website. I suggest you do. It's a great little low power gadget. I will say that's the other reason that it makes sense for the solar project, because when it's running during the day, the LCD is consuming on the order of like 12 microamperes. So it's not something that's going to drain our solar, our battery that much during the day when it's charging up. Like essentially, let's say that you were putting together like a lighting installation for your RV or your truck or something. You might want an LCD like this to be your control panel because it's going to consume almost no current, as opposed to like a TFT or an OLED where it's like those can be in the tens to dozens of milliamperes, which is like thousands of microamperes.
Yep. No, it's funny how for old technology, right? The black, there's a word for it.
Just a pneumatic TN.
TFNQ. It's right there, but I'm not saying it right. But yes, that is what I'm talking about. Like those just the old displays that are basically like black on just your plain quartz color. It is nice if it is going to be used both indoor and outdoor. It's nice to have a like button push backlight on them so that you can turn a backlight on and off. But yeah, they're incredibly low power, and they're also the best visibility in direct sunlight.
They're so visible. Like it's just like the contrast is phenomenal on them.
Yep.
Yeah, I love these little displays. And like I had this display, I had this fabricated custom for me. I reached out to an LCD fabricator in Shenzhen, and I had them make this for me. And eventually I'm hoping to get another batch of these so I can just sell the LCD by itself for folks to put into their own gadgets, because it's just a cool technology. And I think it's I don't know. So you can kind of see if I tilt it down, all of the different segments we have available here. Like,
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and then this button and buzzer feather wing. This one business. They can't all be hits. I've sold 0 of these button buzzer feather wings.
It seems like it would be a useful little add-on.
It's just a simple 3 GPIOs and a buzzer. You can drive it differentially. So like I'm not sure if you can hear the difference, but like there's like one version where it's like just like one pin is at ground and the other one is a square wave, and the other one where they're opposite square waves, so it gets like 6 volts peak to peak, and it can be like decent loud. So that's
nice.
Normal, loud. I'm not sure if you can tell the difference.
It's hard over the over the airwaves, but
I will say it drives people in my house crazy. So yeah, it's loud enough.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I threw it up on the oddly specific Shopify website, and I haven't really done a lot of work marketing it because I've been busy shipping sensor watch boards. So hey,
not a bad reason to. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, so that's the solar project and a little bit of the LCD stuff, and Gossamer. That's the bare metal framework. I'm trying to make it cross-platform on the SAM D21, SAM L21, and SAM L22, as well as the SAM D11, which is like this really low cost version that's has very little RAM, very little flash storage space. But if you're building a really low cost gadget, it might be a useful framework to use to build your firmware. So
yep, cool. Yeah, I like the SAMDs. They're really nice and very, very capable. And yeah, I also enjoy doing bare metal or almost bare metal programming. It's the data sheets are fantastic, and basically everything you need to know in order to program that chip is all in the data sheet.
It's really it's really well put together. Like
the basic now Microchip used to be Atmel. But the basic like Atmel header files that come with the chip are pretty much like all you need in order to actually set all the peripherals up the way that you want. And I'm sure you probably had to do a bunch of that in order to get the really low power for consumption for the sensor watch. Yeah,
totally. Yeah, there was there's a lot of knobs, a lot of sliders you can mess with. I had this one day where I did a very deep dive into like why is my gadget consuming more power than I'm expecting it to. Yeah. And it was all in the data sheet. It was just like, one half of one sentence on a page about external interrupts mentions, if your priority is low power, set this flag from 0 to 1. And I did, and it was like 20 microamperes. It was like, all right, cool. I've been, and then like the LCD refresh. This is another interesting one. So you were talking about how these, how did I lost it? Here we go. How these LCDs are so very low power, right?
Yeah.
So the frequency at which these things refresh, it's on the order of like dozens of hertz. Like this LCD refreshes at I think like 32 hertz. The sensor watch is definitely around 30. So this is not like a really fast like kilohertz or megahertz kind of signal. It's a very like slow signal. And one of the things that you can do on the SAM-L22 is change what is the refresh rate of the LCD. So I was able to drop that down by half and save a little power.
Nice.
Another thing that the L22 had, this is where I'm just getting into like stuff I did to find low power, was it has a boost circuit to boost, like, let's say the sensor watch battery is down at like 2.6 volts. It's like almost dead. But the LCD needs like 3.2 volts to light up. It has a boost built in that can boost that, a charge pump that'll boost that up like 2.6 up to 3.2 for me. But it needs to like watch that voltage level so it knows it's at the right spot. Like, how often do you want to measure that voltage level? And so you can say, I want to measure that voltage level, a few times a second or a bunch of times a second. And in the original firmware, I was measuring that voltage level 2,000 times a second.
Way overkill.
Don't need it. So dialed that down and saved a few microamperes there. So, but again, it's all in the data sheet. You just need to like kind of deep dive into it, and you'll find what you need. This is actually one of my favorite ones. So this, we can't hear it because it's kind of hard to tell over the headphones. But this differential drive of the buzzer, where you kind of beep like the alternating square waves. The timer counter peripheral has a special flag where you can invert one of the outputs. So basically, I'm feeding the same square wave to two pins, but I'm telling it on this pin, invert it. And so now I've got this really nice like differential drive. And it's just like, it's the same TC peripheral that you use to do PWM in Arduino or CircuitPython. But if you're down there close to the metal, you can actually like set this register and do this really, cool thing. So all kinds of stuff like that.
And it's not hard. I mean, it's really what you have to learn and get comfortable with is just like binary operations and binary math. That's basically it. All of the port names and like what every single register of a port does is entirely detailed in the data sheet. And usually in the overview, there's something about like how to set it up, all the things that you have to do in order to like make that peripheral work properly. And then, you just basically flip a bunch of bits and you're off to the races.
Totally.
Yeah, no, that stuff is cool. I like doing stuff like that. I like setting up timers. I like setting up A to D converters. I like doing digital I/O and interrupt stuff. I don't like touching anything dealing with like USB. I will quite happily take somebody else's library and use that.
100%, I will say I've copied a bunch of stuff from Thea, who you had on the show. because it's open source hardware, open source firmware. We're down with that. Just put a copyright, shout out.
Mhm.
I was looking at her I2C driver, and I used that in this Gossamer framework that I'm building.
Mhm.
And actually, the I2C driver was surprisingly easy to work with. Like looking at how she implemented the Atmel I2C driver, I'm like, maybe USB isn't that terrifying. But I'm glad Tiny USB works. And I'm totally going to use it. But it got me thinking, like, oh, maybe I should bite off more than I can chew and see how far I can get with some like the Sam.
This is how you get further down the rabbit hole.
I was looking at the SAM E53, and it's got an Ethernet controller built in. Like, I don't know what I need Ethernet for, but if it's just twiddling registers, maybe I don't know. I was going to say though, we were talking beforehand about just chip shortage stuff, and it's I'm designing this firmware for the SAM series, even though the SAM chips are kind of difficult to obtain right now. But once chip shortage is over, I'm going to be stoked to work with these again. There's this one. I'm working with a SAM L21 right now for the solar project. I might want to just have lower power, and it's got an op-amp peripheral, which I find fascinating.
That is fascinating.
So it's on the version I'm using. It's 5 or 6 pins that are op-amp, inverting input, non-inverting input, outputs, and you can it's 3 op-amps that are chained together. You can use one, you can use all 3, and you can configure your op-amp. It has a wiper or a resistor ladder. You can set different basically you can play around with op-amps just all in software. It's I want to
that's cool.
I want to play with that,
Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating. And also seeing these chips that have such specialized peripherals, or not necessarily specialized peripherals, but a specialized combination of peripherals, it just makes me want to know what else they're used in. What are people using these for?
I've got one for you. The SAM L22 in your sensor watch was in the original GoPro.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, remember those old GoPros with the LCD screen on the front?
Yeah.
I found a teardown of one of them, and the SAM L22 was the low power chip inside that dealt with the buttons and the LCD.
Nice.
But it makes sense. Low power, you might an LCD chip. You're probably not going to have a SAM D51 that's power hungry and chews through a lot of power, and an LCD peripheral on that. That just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
But ultra low power supervisor for your otherwise power hungry action camera. Yeah. SAM L22. Sure.
Interesting. That's cool. So Devin's Workshop says about the op amps. Okay, what I'm hearing is synthesizer watch.
So folks were chatting in the Discord, because unfortunately the buzzer can only do one frequency at a time, so you can just do one tone. You can't do chords. But apparently, in chiptune world, people will play the 3 notes of a chord really quickly in succession, and it kind of has this I don't know, an NES style thing.
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm stoked to see what folks will come up with.
I like it. Cool. So yes, one more thing that I would love to ask you about is how did you get to where you are now? What made you interested in STEM stuff? What got you into software? And what are you I don't think Sensor Watch is your day job, right? You have separate day jobs. So
no,
tell us about your superhero origin story.
I mean, my origin story is I don't know. I was always interested in STEM kind of stuff as a kid. Also, my parents really nurtured that. They sent me to a summer engineering camps, and with something called College for Kids, where you'd go to the San Antonio College and take classes over the summer instead of whatever kids do during the summertime. But I remember having a soldering iron as a kid. I never really got very far. I never understood principles. I didn't understand Ohm's law until the last couple of years, honestly. Once I started building the open book and stuff, that's when I actually buckled down and learned some of the engineering stuff that I needed to learn. But otherwise I'd just been in kind of software world. I was a iOS kind of software engineer. Oh, oops. App type stuff. I'm gonna turn off my other camera since we're not doing down cam anymore.
Yeah, sure.
I was doing apps and such, apps in the publishing industry. Worked as a consultant for a bit, And then now I just my day job is freelance software engineer for iOS kind of stuff. And then I try to set aside some time to do my hardware stuff on the side. Although I would really love for the hardware business to kind of become more core starting this next couple of years.
Yeah.
We'll see what this turns into.
Cool.
I'm really stoked that like you were saying, like people have kind of embraced Sensor Watch in a way, and seeing what the community does with it and seeing where it grows from here. I'm stoked to see whether that could turn into something more sustainable.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it certainly seems like you're on a good trajectory. You have a good start, good base for that right now with the Sensor Watch.
Thank you. And this LCD Featherwing thing, like, I mean, it's wild to have started out like ordering like Lady Ada's like electronics toolkit, and now to have a product at Adafruit. But like, like folks are buying it, and it seems like I also they just opened up their Learn Guide to external contributors, so I'm totally going to make a how to build a NeoPixel controller with the LCD Featherwing guide. So because I think people will want to like see how they can use this product in their work or kind of envision it within their lives. And I don't know, it seems like that's how you do it, right? I think.
I'm still muddling my way through things, so.
I also think, like, especially in this like open hardware world, like the biggest thing you can do is just like shout out other people, shout out the people who inspired you, shout out the people whose work you're building on. And like, I mean, that's how I learned it, and that's how I want other people to learn it. So like share the joy,
Definitely. Cool. Well, it's about, I feel like I don't have any more questions for you. Is there anything else that you wanted to tell us about?
Well, let me look around my desk. What do I got? No, nothing really. I guess the one upcoming milestone is I've had this Sensor Watch battery test going for 346 days.
Dang, nice.
So when I started the campaign, I kind of guesstimated we'd have year-long battery life, and in about 20 days we will find out whether we have year-long battery life. Nice. So I was just like, I will announce live on stream the battery voltage is 2.74 volts. So we've
nice.
I think we're gonna make the 1 year mark.
I think so. Close.
But also, this is with an older firmware before I'd done any of that microamp hunting. So the new firmware is on my wrist.
Even better.
Yeah. What is this? The new firmware is at day 241, so we're well past the halfway mark. And I'm at 3.08 volts, which is nominal voltage. So
nice.
This is definitely going to last a year. I'm curious to see how much further it goes. So yeah.
And are you using the Nordic Power Profiler to do your measurements? Yeah,
I am. Yeah, it's a godsend.
Yeah, that thing is awesome for a whole bunch of things. I mean, I'm not doing microamps on it, but we're just being able to see the current draw of something that pulls varying amounts of current is great. So like these like self-flashing LEDs and stuff like that, just to estimate our own battery time on like the little soldering kits that we're doing and things like that. It's been great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. And the UI is great. And then just like being able to like zero in on like at one point, like I was like working on these like adjustments to the Sensor Watch firmware, and I had one button on the Sensor Watch just like toggle between old mode and new mode, and you can just see like where like the floor like just drops out, and like it's got this beautiful graph of like my current consumption over time, and like it's a fun piece of kit. And
nice.
Yeah, you can't. What I'm trying to quote. Scott Shawcroft made a comment about like you can't fix what you can't measure. You can't look at something like that. Like, yeah. Once you have this piece of kit in your toolbox, now you can like figure out. But up until then, you're just kind of guessing.
Yeah. It definitely beats like the kind of like the inline resistor trick, like which I was doing before on some other things that I was like measuring current on, where you have something that is like in its regular mode or whatever, and you you wire up power to it directly, and then, but in parallel, you also have just basically a current sense resistor on your positive wired to it. And so then you put it in its low power mode, you disconnect the your main lead, and therefore you're still, your current sense resistor is, because it's so low current, it's not dropping enough voltage to really like make a difference to your device. And so then you can actually like measure some microamps and stuff like that way. But that was a total pain in the ass. So yeah, very happy to have a power profiler. Makes it so much easier.
I was going to say, before this, I was using Adafruit has an INA 219 like current like monitor or whatever. It also measures like the voltage drop across a resistor.
Yeah.
But it was a funny moment when I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to test the sensor watch. And I like plug it in and it's like 0 milliamps.
Yeah.
Oh, my resistor is like not like in a range where it could even like measure that.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You need like a big resistor in order to measure small currents, with the voltage drop. But then you can't just like power your thing normally through a big resistor. So that's why I had like the parallel setup going, and like it totally worked. And it's a great hack. It's a great like super low cost way of doing it. But when you're trying to actually develop something and run this test many, many times and see befores and afters, good tools are good. Yeah. Devin's Workshop, you do got to pick up one of those because they're just super useful. Super, super useful.
Yeah, all the cool kids.
Ooh. Let's see. When it runs out of battery, will it log the runtime somewhere? Like, will you be able to know the exact duration?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, right now the answer is no. It does not have anything like that. But now that we have a small file system on the watch, maybe we could like log some stuff to that file system. That's a very good idea. Yeah, the SAML22 has a little 8 kilobyte area at the end that's EEPROM emulation.
Yep.
So we've got a little file system LFS partition right at the end there.
Nice.
So it's just enough for like some settings, some like very basic logging. 8 kilobytes, not a huge amount, but if we were to log like battery voltage once a day, like in a CSV, and see how long it lasts, I bet we could do that in a few hundred bytes.
Easy, no problem. Cool.
If you want to build it, Devin, like I think you Devin's Workshop ordered one, right? If you're a backer, they'll ship out this week, and they'll probably ship to you early next month. So get in there.
And yes, so that's a good question. Where can people join the Sensor Watch community? Is it mainly Discord? Is it
Discord seems to be where it's at right now. So we've got if you go to sensorwatch.net, the social links are at the bottom, and there's also a community link at the top that has all of those things. So that's where you get the Sensor Watch Discord, and there's also links to the GitHub repository and all that good stuff up there. And then for more information about the other objects, I guess oddlyspecificobjects.com is where I post like the documentation on like the LCD featherwing and whatnot. And then I guess I have to do the marketing thing. Shop.oddlyspecificobjects.com is where you can pick up that button buzzer featherwing. Be the first to buy one. I will send it out tomorrow.
There you go. Oh, cool. And I just wanted to note, so the creative use of the LCD segments at hand here, where you didn't have a top crossbar.
It's not so much that we don't have a top crossbar; it's that the top and the bottom crossbars are tied together.
Got it.
One interesting thing about the original Casio, if you can imagine how it was used, you'll only ever display the numbers 0 through 5 in that position.
Okay.
Because the stopwatch only, or I guess, 0 to 5, because the stopwatch only goes up to 59 minutes, 59 seconds. And same thing with the third position, that'll only ever be 0 through 5 because it's like 0 seconds to 59 seconds. So since there's no need to ever display a 7 in that position, they just tied the top and bottom segments together.
Nice.
You'll also see in the date at the top right, there's like 2 digits, right? Like, the 1st to the 31st, but you'll never display any number other than 1, 2, and 3 there. So there's a missing segment, and the top, middle, and bottom segments are all tied together because they're all on in a 2, they're all on in a 3, and they're all off in a 1.
Right.
So you can only display 1, 2, and 3 in that position, but it works for a lot of numbers, or 3 of them at least.
Yeah. No, that's interesting to see all of the just all of the things that they did to make it so that they had like one fewer line to control, or yeah.
It's funny. Like I've spent so much time like looking at this design. I have such immense respect for the engineers who made the F91W. It is just like so tightly put together. It is like exactly what it needs to be, and not a single thing more.
Have you like gotten any feedback or anything from Casio about this project, or from anybody who's worked on it?
I'm really hoping I'm just flying under their radar screen, because well, I mean, I don't know. Like I mean, I could totally see where some companies would be like, oh, cease and desist, you're like messing with our product. But it's like, hey, I bought the thing, I can hack on the thing, right?
Yeah, no, I think at least in the US, I mean, it's totally fine to take something apart and reverse engineer it. And yeah, I mean, you're not using their name, you're not branding, you're not using their brand. So
totally, yeah.
No,
I think I'm in the clear, but regardless, like, just because I'd rather just fly under their radar than I did. There was a conversation at one point with the crowd supply folks of like, would you be interested in also having a tier where you include the watch in the order?
Well, that's what Devin just actually asked. So
really?
Perfect timing for that.
But my response to that was like, I don't think it's a good idea, because I'd be essentially becoming a Casio distributor and urging people to void their warranty immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and take to that.
Yeah, they're so easy to find that, like, yeah, it's not a big deal. And yeah, I wouldn't want to. And this allows people to get the one that they want. Yeah. So, because like I wanted a colorful watch, and I'm actually going to see if I can get some like different color bands to just make it even more garish than just red yellow it already is. So
check out Etsy. There's some hot pink and some like hot like turquoise blue.
I want one pink and one orange.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
But yeah, no, and like Casio made so many different colorways of this, like the blue, like I was saying, and like this one, and then like the gold stainless steel, and like they have some with like the transparent jelly band right now that are like really cool.
Yeah, nice.
But it's funny, like it's a watch where like I saw an F91W at a boutique in Bushwick for like $60, and then I see effectively the same watch at a Target in San Antonio for like $15. It's like it's really just, you can go any direction with it. So yeah.
I was surprised. It seems like there are definitely some combinations that are more sought after and fetch a higher price tag than others. And, I'm sure it makes sense in the Casio watch collector world, but I was just like, well, I like that color, but that color's more expensive. All right, I don't like it that much. Like,
when I was looking at it, like, so this like stainless steel one that I have, you can buy this direct from Casio's website, casio.com, for I think like $24.
Yeah.
But in gold tone, it is like $70.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Well, it's fancier, of course.
Yeah.
If it's gold, like.
Yeah.
Funny.
I like Devin's workshop. If you're not immediately voiding warranties, do you really own something? I'm right there with you.
Yep. Although I don't know, we just got a very fancy laser cutter, and I'm not voiding that warranty.
Okay, like I got that fancy paper folding machine to like fold up all the documentation. And the other night I was folding up documentation packets, and I had the worst jam. I just could not unjam this thing.
No.
And so I look it up, and it's like the technician's manual for this paper folder. Only open it up if you're a technician. It's like, well, I'm a technician now.
Yeah. And what was the result?
Unjammed.
There you go. Woohoo!
Actually, once I took it apart, it's like it's a very simple machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it, and we're almost at the 2 hours. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This was super fun. You've got your sensor watch all assembled now, and
sensor watch, so that I can wear it to SuperCon.
Heck yeah. And yeah, like tomorrow I'm going to be packing up the next batch of 280 so that more folks can get them. And
nice. More exciting. Shipping out.
Shipping things.
Yeah, shipping's good.
Shipping is great. All right.
All right. See See everybody next time.
See y'all next time.
Now I have to find out where this tab was.